What's that sound? It's for amusement only, the EM and Bingo Pinball Podcast.
Well, I'm here in the great state of New Jersey. For the first time in my life, I came to visit Vic Camp and pick up his beautiful gay time and the nightclub that we've been talking about. And Vic, it's been really nice to meet you in person.
No, it's been swell. I love it. I guess we've been here since around 7 a.m. It's now near 5 p.m. And I guess we're both a little bit tired, but we're willing to stretch it some more. And it was a great day. Weather-wise was perfect. And we got a great deal accomplished. Nick came and picked up the gay time that I purchased from a collector out in Poconos in Pennsylvania, which he had for a long period of time. I was after that game for a while and got a call from him years ago and grabbed it like the next day because it was in such great condition. So Nick had decided to make the trip 6.5 hours one way to come and pick up the gay time because I recently had purchased another Bally gay time bingo from a friend that was here in Sparta, New Jersey. This particular game came from Ohio. A gentleman in his late 80s had purchased this particular gay time years and years ago, and the good thing about this game was that Jeffrey Lawton, the guy who wrote the Bingo Bally pinball book, had serviced this game, and it was his customer for many, many years. And my friend from Sparta was here at my home and saw my gay time and wanted to buy one. So we found this game in Ohio, and I talked to Jeffrey, and he said, Vic, the game is in astronomical condition. And I said, but Jeffrey, I think I have like the best gay time on the planet. And he says, well, let me send you some pictures. So he sent some pictures for my friend Charlie from Sparta, and I was amazed to see the condition of this gay time that was in Ohio. To make a long story short, because we want to talk about some other things here today, about what happened and the great day that we had. Charlie from Sparta decided to purchase that game in Ohio, and Jeffrey Lawton was kind enough to pick it up at his customer's house and deliver it to Charlie in his home in Sparta. So we had a great day there in Sparta getting that gay time from Jeffrey. It was just so much fun, and now that Charlie has moved out of New Jersey and is going to be living in Florida, he asked me if I wanted to buy that gay time. So that's how this whole gay time deal came about. I asked Nick if he was interested. He knew the pictures of the game, and he said, sure, I'd love to have it. So he came here, and this morning we had a little breakfast right off the bat.
Delicious.
And, we started our little daily activity after breakfast, and it turned out great. We have his gay time that was in my collection packed away in his van, and we pulled the gay time I had in the shed in the back that came from Ohio, from Jeffrey Lawton's customer, is now in the slot in the game room here in the garage. We're looking at it, overlooking it. It's beautiful, and it's playable. It's just ready to go. So I'm really happy. I hope Nick is happy with his purchase of the gay time. It is a really great game. And we did a couple other things. Actually, there was an old nightclub that was sitting here, the head in my shed outside in the yard, and the cabinet, which was located up in the attic for many, many years. And Nick also is going to be taking that home with him, and I'm sure he's going to get that nightclub working, and it's going to be great. So it's just been a great day. I mean, we had went around and played all the other games. Nick is a little under the weather today, but forced himself to start off at one point in the garage game room, which consists of Gay Time, Silver Sails, Lady Luck, New Continental Gold, and Solid State game, which Nick is going to be talking about in a few minutes. We have Light of Line in Dixieland, Skill Pool, Coney Island, Golden Arrow, and Crosstown in the garage game room. So he made his way around earlier today while we were getting the games packed away, and then he went into the attached family room, game room, which consists of Countdown, Playboy, Top Card, Blue Chip, Williams Blue Chip, EM game, and a couple of jukeboxes. So we had a little fun in there, and we moseyed on down to the basement game room, which consists of the 25 Gottlieb wedge heads. And we did discuss a few things. We opened up the Sure Shot, the Jacks Open, and Nick took a look inside of these low-played, clean, original game, cherry condition games, all shopped out and restored, to give him some experience on what they look like from the factory in like new condition, so he can judge in the future and know just how nice a game could be. So we looked at the volley too. We opened that up. That had something like 18 or 17,000 plays. So Nick went around the entire room in chronological order and played every single game. So he got a belly full of my collection, and he's going to be transporting home a couple of beautiful games for his collection. And what a great, enjoyable day. It's going to be memorable for me, for sure, and hopefully for Nick.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So I think Nick wants to talk about the New Continental Gold in a little bit. It's a 1990, early 90s or late 80s game that was made in Belgium by GAA, which stands for General Amusement. I forget the last word.
Is it Authority?
Maybe. It might even be Authority, something like that. But anyway, this New Continental Golden is part of the package deal I bought from my good friend Joe down in Newark, New Jersey, from Phoenix Amusement. Joe actually had went over to Belgium, sent his technician and him, purchased these games overseas, these bingos, because you can't buy them anymore in the United States, because Bally went out of business in 1980 and made a run of 10,000 continental solid state bingo games, which they didn't even put out in America. They actually sold the entire manufacturing lot to GAA. So Nick, if you want to talk about that game, hopefully we can get some good vibes from it.
Yeah, it is unique. I've never played any bingo like it. It starts out as a 6 card, and it's got all the features of Dixieland, which I also played today for the first time, including the magic number and the double values, right?
Double card.
Yep.
The 11 coin.
But then it's got all these extra features, and they're all pretty exciting, and they're all done with the computer inside. So you can actually line up the bingo balls in the holes, say in the top row. If you line them up horizontally, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you have the feature lit, it's going to award you replays. It's pretty fancy. And there's this cool trail that kind of winds its way down the center of the play field, and if you manage to land 4 balls in those, it's quite the thing. You get many replays, but there's always a but. The machine is made to take a lot of money very quickly. And there's the ability to increase your coin value, so up to 5. So you can set, instead of a quarter being 1 coin, you put in a quarter and what am I trying to say?
Actually, the
It's
coin value is
1/5,
up to
right?
5. So what it does is it starts off with a card costs you a quarter, but if you bring the coin value up to 5, each card costs you $1.25, which is 5 times the amount on the 5 increase on the coin value. So right off the bat, if you put in, which this game is a maximum 14 card game, it's $1.25 times 14 to just start and play the game. But you can also
bump up your multiplier, and that's user controlled. You have to wager for it. But unlike in a Bally Bingo, there's no searching, there's none of that. It's there, and you can continue to adjust it. But beyond that, it's pretty crazy. But you can shoot for 5 in a line without having 4 in a line set up. It's like a second bonus game.
Right, it's a separate, isolated game. In other words, you want to put, if you want to start this new Continental up, you want to max out your coin value to 5. You want to max out your multiplier 10 times, which makes it, instead of putting a quarter in per card, it's 25 cents times 15. That's 10 on the multiplier and 5 on the coin value. So right off the bat, you're going to drop a big amount of money into the machine just to play a 5-ball or a 10-ball game, because this game gives you up to 5 free balls, which is pretty incredible in a 6-card game. So with the multiplier maxed out at 15 and you play the game and you want to go for extra balls, there's an automatic feature at the end of the game which will internally through the computer figure out how much it's going to cost you for a free ball, and then what the number is. The number will flash on the card you need for the extra ball. It will tell you how much it's going to cost the player and how much the player is going to win, right in an LED readout on the back glass. So once the player completes his 14 maxed out coin game with the multiplier at 15, he can then go for extra balls, which the game figures out, and you can buy into up to 10 free balls. I have the game shut down where you can only get 8 free balls, like on an old Bally Bingo Magic Screen game. But there's a lot of gambling going on. But once this game is completed and the player loses or wins, at that point on the lockdown bar, there's a button that a player can press and totally shut that whole game off he played and flip to a 5 in a row game. In other words, you press the button, your previous game disappears.
It spots you 4 numbers
Each card.
on each card, and you have to shoot.
You choose the card
Yes.
you want to
that's
play.
right.
It could be any 5-number combination at random the computer comes up with as you go to this separate, isolated 5 in a line game you can play after you play your regular game. So that's pretty unique and different, where a player can just decide, I just want to play for 5 in a line.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to put any coins in. I don't want to multiply any multiplier up. I don't want to play for magic number. You press the button, and all 6 cards light up with 4 in a lines on them. And each card has a different number to make the 5 in a line. And the player can choose from the lockdown bar button which card and which number he wants to play, which 5 in the line he wants to play. And that value is when a player is playing for 25 cents without the 5 coin value up or the 10 multiplier up. At that point, it costs 30 quarters just to play this 5 in a row game, which is about $6.50, I guess $6.50.
30, yeah.
Something like that. 5 is 25, something like that. So at that point, the player can play any 5 in a row line he wants, he can choose from. And off he goes. And if he misses that number for 5 in a row, he can buy in again at a smaller percentage, maybe 15 quarters. It decreases down to, but the value of the 5 in a row payout also decreases. And if the player then misses that 5 in a row on his second chance or his second ball, he can then buy in for one more chance at the 5 in a row with the third ball. You can get up to 3 balls to make this 5 in a row. Now, when the multiplier's on, I think the payout's big and the cost is pretty big. Nick and I were experimenting with that today, and it seems to be that you can really lose a great deal of money. And
it ramps up pretty quick, yeah.
Yeah. Now you can with the keypad inside the game control all the game features and all the game's payouts. I think I have the total maximum payout a player can possibly win set at 28,000 quarters, which you can increase that or decrease that. I thought that was kind of a good number to be at, but one night I had a friend from Newark, New Jersey here, a big bingo player who was my partner for many years. We had a bingo marathon going, and this guy is one of the biggest gamblers I know. Racetrack, football. He bet on cockroaches running across the floor. This guy actually maxed out my 28,000 quarter win, and the game went into some error code. It cost me a couple of days to read the manual to try to reset it. Yeah.
So, yeah, that's an interesting thing, too, that I noticed. It has a memory for the credits, which are on the meter. When you turn the game off and turn it on, is that an adjustable setting? Can you set it to a knockoff mode, like on the bingos, on the Valley bingos?
I'm not sure. I had two, while I was saying, I had bought these games from Phoenix Amusement from my buddy Joe there, and I had 9 Miss Bowling Turbos, which was a remake of the 1950s Miss America Bally EM game. And I only had 2 New Continental Goldens. I actually had one that was working in a parts machine that, for some reason, I thought I couldn't put together 2 of them, so I made one of them. And I read manuals and did a lot of work, and this was about 15 years ago, so I don't recall if you can do that, Nick. But I think if we take all that paperwork out I have, we can probably figure it out. But I don't know the answer to that question, but I know the new games that they're making in Belgium now, the 2015 games, which are laser lighting in the holes, and it's just got the LED screen TV in the back glass. I mean, I don't know much about them, but I heard that you can control them from the phone and through your phone, and the vendor can be in another location and knock the games off or on it, or make it. Yes, it can control any feature you want, boost it up through a phone. So it's pretty interesting how the bingos are still being developed since the start of Bally's venture with them in 1951 when they put out their first game called Bright Lights, which was a 6-card game. So here it is in 2015, and because of Bally and the engineers that created these wonderful, magnificent, smart games, because they were way ahead of their time in the 50s, just like that game Gay Time that Nick is going to be adding to his collection. These games were just remarkable. You think about now, they're still existing overseas, over the pond there, and I wish I can really get my hands on one of the newer manuals for the 2015 games and really get to talk to somebody out there about them, because I'm sure they'll probably knock your socks off with the technology they can do. And let me tell you something. Them bingos are out everywhere in Belgium and overseas in Europe at many, many locations. They're running them. But I just can't imagine for the amount of money people are losing at them, because if you're not a great player, if you don't have the playing time in, literally, you can probably lose your bank account or
Pretty quick.
life savings.
Yeah.
Think about it. I mean, 25,000
Thousands
quarters.
and thousands. Yeah.
I mean, multiplying. I'm sure the multipliers are way up past 15 now. The coin values are up past 5, and the multipliers are way past 10.
Wow.
I'm sure they are. But I'm glad I have this game. Nick actually took one of the play fields from the Miss Bowling Turbo. He may be creating some kind of Frankenstein bingo monster. We don't know. I doubt it. I think he's going to get that nightclub going with the extra play field from our friend Dennis down in St. Louis that he purchased. So hats off to Dennis out there too. Again, man, he's just constantly helping everybody with the bingos, keeping these games alive. The generosity is far beyond anybody's I've ever met. So I'm glad that it was incorporated into this deal somehow with the nightclub that I had, a second nightclub.
Me too. Yeah. It's I feel like I'm owning a little piece of history here with Vic Camp's Gay Time and the nightclub that was yours. That it's going to have Vince's playfield. It's going to be something special.
You know what? I feel the same way, Nick. I don't mean to interrupt, but I'm getting a game that Jeffrey Lawton had his hands in, and it means a lot to me. Just to know that this Gay Time that I have now, that I got from a good friend in Sparta, and Jeffrey had his hands in this game, and it just means so much to me. And I mean, you're connected now with all us bingo guys. You're probably the youngest one of us out there. And I'm glad that you got a chance to get the Gay Time that I had, and you feel that way. But I feel the same way about the Gay Time I have now, that I have a history of where it came from and who worked on it. I mean, there's nobody bigger or better than Jeffrey Lawton in the bingo world, so it means a lot to me.
It's true. And you know what that means? If we're both satisfied, it's a good deal. That's good.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I also wanted to say, and I know we've talked about this before, but your games are immaculate, man. They are so wonderful, and they play so well. I mean, I've never played a wedge head that felt like it was brand new, and I would say, almost to the one that I played, they all felt that way. You've put a ton of time and effort into making sure that the flippers are as responsive as they possibly can be, as little buzz as possible. I mean, all that stuff, I'm picking up on it. I know we didn't talk about it directly, but I mean, I can tell that you have really worked those machines over.
Yeah, you get a low play game, like, for instance, the golden hour that I picked up just now. I got that in the deal with my friend from Sparta. He purchased that game from a real good friend of mine who's can't say enough about him. We're very close. Him and I have been working on games for years. He picked that game up in Sparta, brought it home. This golden arrow, 16,000 plays on it. Worked his magic on it, brought it to the Allentown show. My friend from Sparta bought it, took it home, and now I have it. But what I'm trying to say is, these games with the low plays on them, they need about 80 hours to 100 hours of work anyway, even though they're low played. But when you're done with this type of game, because they're so low played, the mechanisms haven't been worn to a game that's had 200, 300,000 plays on it, which is kind of average.
Mm-hmm.
If it was on route long enough, you can really get them to play like factory new, because they're low played. And I mean, you looked inside. What did you see? Plungers that
bright and clean, shiny.
Bright and shiny, but all they were disassembled and polished. and put back. Some weren't even done. I told you my
Yeah.
jacks open, for instance. I just basically took that game, cleaned some switches, polished it up, cleaned the playfield, and it's been sitting there like for 15 years, and it plays astronomical. But I have gone through it and kept up with preventive maintenance on it every year. So
And you're so meticulous. That's the other thing. Uh, and take that as a compliment.
it's
That's
okay.
that's a good thing. Um, you got a card that notes all the maintenance points that you've done on each game, which I think is a great idea. You're able to keep track of exactly when the last time it happened. You don't just wait for something to come up. You take care of it ahead of time.
Predictive maintenance, not preventive maintenance. Predictive maintenance.
Yeah.
That's my other
It's going
PM.
to fail, right?
But
Yeah.
really, when you go through a game with under 20,000 plays on it,
Mm-hmm.
it really doesn't need much afterwards. When you put up 80 to 120 hours into this game, and these hours, they total up, including polishing. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you polish the lockdown bar, you buff it with a wheel, and you use jeweler's rouge. And I mean, you're doing the legs and the door, and you're polishing the push button coin slots, and you're doing all this tedious, taking the arch off and polishing all that metal. And you see the gong, you pull the gong bell off, you want to polish that because it's easy to get out. And, you're talking about the shooter rod and the plunger, and all of this stuff takes time. So, to get a game in pristine, factory-like new condition, you're putting time in a lot on just, cleaning up and hardware stuff. But, switches and rebuilding pop bumpers, you don't have to go all out. You don't have to change the sleeves. You change the sleeves, of course, but you don't have to change the plungers like you would on a game that has 100,000 plus plays on it. So it's nice to experience the low played games. I just, they're far and few between them. I know there's a lot of them out there in the late 70s because of the video craze. There's still a lot of nice low played games, but you look at games that I have like Central Park, which I had 5 of them to get a really nice low played game. I mean, I spent 120 hours on that game. That game, it just feels phenomenal. It feels like new out of the
Brand
box,
new. Yeah.
So, I have some lower dated games like that from the mid '60s. So it's just nice to do that. I mean, there's nothing bad about taking a game with 200 plus thousand plays and rebuilding everything and painting it and putting an noise glass in and putting time in and polishing everything. They play great too, but they don't smell like the new ones.
That's true.
The new
I
ones
got to
have
experience that new smell today.
that new wood smell,
That's awesome.
the new metal smell, the
Mhm.
unworn smell.
And aside from the playability, just the overall appearance is amazing. And you do a lot, like I say, and it shows.
Well, I learned from a lot of people. I wasn't born with it. I mean, I have been inspired by many other wedgehead EM collectors out there. I mean, I've been on the circuit now for near 25 years, maybe a little longer, but there's guys out there that I've learned everything from. I did a lot of reading and a lot of internet uh, reading too, but back in 25 years ago, there wasn't really that much information. So there were guys out there that I had met, and I saw what you saw today, Nick. And I said, "Wow, look at this." But these guys have been out there for 35 years, 40 years, so it took me a long time to find all the cherry games. Now it's a lot easier with Pinside and Craigslist and people helping each other and people swapping and trading. And, it's very nice out there now in the hobby and it's easier to acquire some of these low played games if this is what you desire. Not many people desire that. But like I said, I learned about it from a lot of other collectors and seen many, many great collections of games, including wood reels with wedge heads and multiplayer Gottliebs with NOS playfields in them and NOS parts that these guys acquired back 35, 40 years ago when no one was in the hobby, and the availability of, NOS glasses, which were not in abundance, but they were out there. These guys grabbed all this stuff and made these great collections, and I saw that, and that's where I, decided to try to imitate them and get to where they are, and I'm still scratching at the surface with it. I have 2 painted cabinet games downstairs out of the 25 wedge has that.
That's scratching at the surface.
Me too.
Right.
So I'm fortunate the guy didn't buy the pool table. I think if I got rid of that pool table up in that 20 by 20 room on the 5th floor there, I would have been buying this bingo deal that's going on here in Millington, New Jersey. We spoke of this on a podcast before a couple weeks ago, and I did list it. It's on Mr. Pinball now. It's a 10-game package bingo pinball deal. That's a long-time collector here in New Jersey, had put tremendous amount of hours in for many, many years, over 25 years. So the games are all operating, and it's so tempting to want to have them, especially when it's games that I haven't had in my collection, and I'd love to experience, like Ice Frolics and Bonanza, and the list goes on. Roller Derby and Palm Springs, and it's just a remarkable collection. And I thought perhaps if I sold a pool table, I could get the whole thing up there, but I probably would have been in traction in 2 weeks, and I physically have to work every day at a real job. So it's best someone buys all these things that's in one shot, or we'll have to sell them singular, that's all. But
they're all 100% working.
Yes, I turned them all on and looked at them and played them through, and I'm sure there's a bulb out here or there, or I didn't see any hiccups on the mechanical end. I think this guy was really, really involved in really fine-tuning these bingos. So, it's a real good deal for somebody who wants to take someone else's collection and put it in their home.
Mm-hmm. Someone just getting started with bingos or anything of that nature, because you could take it, you'd find the games that you like, and then you sell the rest. And at the price that they're selling at, you'd come out ahead.
So, Nick, how did you like the Dixieland, the king of all 6-card bingos that Bally produced in 1978-79? It was their last EM 6-card bingo. And I want to hear from you, your thoughts. I know you have the ticker tape. I got a beautiful, gorgeous blue chip that came with the Gay Time and the Golden Arrow from Sparta. I bought a 3-game package deal recently we just talked about. But I'm interested to hear, what do you think comparisons are? I know there's not that much more feature-wise, but to me there is. And being you have the ticker tape, which is the game probably before High Flyer and before Blue Chip and after Stock Market and Bull Market. And I love ticker tape myself. But me being the player that I am, I need to have every feature incorporated in the 6-card game. But I'm interested in hearing what you think about it.
Yeah, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. So first of all, it's beautiful, and it operates whisper quiet. That new Continental Golden is really quiet because there's no mechanics. But in that Dixieland, it's the same way. It's amazing. Beyond that, you got the 6-card play, which of course ticker tape has. It's got the corners, it's got the super lines, but it doesn't have any of the other features. So it doesn't have the magic number. It doesn't have the automatic double with the magic number.
The double-double.
The double-double.
And it has also the red diagonals, which gives a player a tremendous amount of ways
winning
to
combinations,
win. Right.
Yeah.
And it also has on the play field to light the corners or the super line by a rollover button.
Yep.
That's located down by the 19-20-21 row there, and that's in between the 20-23-25 row, 23-24-25 row. So it lights up at random, and it also gives the player a chance to roll over it. So
which is like on the Magic Screen games that give you the extended time tree, or any of those games that have the time tree.
What I like about the Dixieland is the 4-digit counter because I love winning replays. I don't know if
Yeah.
you noticed. I
I did
just
notice that.
really like to max out all credit wheels on wedge heads. I like to try to get to the 4th digit on the bingos, but it's it's a task. The Dixieland, of course, will give a player a chance for 11 quarters, $2.25. Will give a player a chance to win $650 or 2,400 replays in one game. And that's really what I love about the Dixieland.
And that's as many as you can get on that double up, which also, has that huge winning potential. But this is a 6 card, so it's a lot faster. You don't have to worry about moving numbers. You don't have to worry about any of that stuff.
Multiple coin, that 20 holer is? Multiple coin, endless multiple coins for features? Just like Silver Sales and Gay Time and the rest of them games. Yeah, multi-coin games are pretty interesting for home use.
Exactly. But on Dixieland, you're locked in. You put in your 11 coin max, you play your game. And you have decision points, just like any other bingo, but it's different. And it's a lot different than ticker tape. And you had told me that when I said I was looking at the ticker tape. You said,
well, like I said, I have the sister game to my Dixieland. I had 2 Dixielands come over from PA to New Jersey, and my friend who lives just 2 miles from my home here in Clifton has a nice EM collection of games. He's got some pitching bats from the 50s. He's got a lot of early Flipper series wedge heads, Flipper Parade, Flipper Clown,
the original
Flipper Fair,
Add-a-balls, right?
Add-a-balls, and he wanted a bingo. I actually had him had a Nashville, but he wanted to have the Dixieland because it had the extra features, so we got rid of his Nashville, and he has a Dixieland that he wants to get rid of, and it's just 2 miles away. So if there's any interest at all,
so you're saying
let me know.
I need a bigger vehicle.
We can put that on the top of the van, even though you have 2 bingos in your van now, a play field, a set of legs. What else you got in there? 2 back glasses. I mean,
circus playfield. Circus playfield.
Oh, let's talk. The circus playfield was another thing that Nick picked up today. That he has a Bally Circus. Gottlieb Circus. How about that? I love Gottlieb. I love Bally too, but. And I remembered through pictures and talking to Nick that he had this circus game. And while I was up investigating and evaluating the 10-game bingo deal over in Millington, New Jersey, I noticed in the corner a circus playfield sitting in the corner doing nothing. And I inquired with the woman, and she said, sure, I'd like to sell it. And I did one of the American Pictures bundles thing. I put some sets of wooden legs there, the playfield in there, and I gave her a number, and she was gladly happy to accept it. And I found a good home for it, knowing that in the back of my mind, I thought I knew that Nick had this game, and I took a risk on it because it didn't matter anyway. The playfield was gorgeous, so he's going to have to really work his magic on it to make it look like a diamond, but it is a diamond in the rough, hopefully, for him, and a big upgrade for his game. So he's got that in his van now. But I have shrink wrap, or what do they call that?
Shrink wrap?
Yeah. I have that. We can just strap that Dixieland over at Rich's. We'll take a ride. We'll pull it out, strap that baby on the top, and just wrap it around 100 times with a stick like glue on the top of your van. You drive slow, and you got a 3-4 game package deal going home today.
That's if I knew my wife wouldn't kill me, I'd say that would be good.
Don't do it then. I got enough people in trouble already, including myself. But what did you think about the Coney Island? I mean, it's the second game off the manufacturing run from Bally's plant when they decided to make bingos in 1951. We all know that the 6-card game, Bright Lights, was the first game, but Coney Island is the second bingo ever produced. And let me know your thoughts about size, playability, speed. ticking, mechanical noise, whatever. I mean,
Yeah. Well, it's a lot smaller than your typical Valley Bingo. Uh, I'm assuming that's because there's a lot less mechanics inside.
you know what? It's sitting next to that skill pool reverse Williams wedge head, 1963, and it has a set of wheels on it. That's the way I found it when I purchased it, and I never took the wheels off because it's blocking my electrical box here in the garage game room, and it's perfect for accessibility by just moving it out on the wheels. But I noticed that it's about 6 inches shorter than the skill pool in size and height.
Which itself is a lot shorter than, say, Dixieland right beside that.
I'm going to give it a little measurement on the. I think it might even be actually 40.
Might be shorter.
No, cabinet's the same size.
Same exact,
barrel,
huh?
But it has that little tightness to it by the 14.
Yeah. It's a very interesting game. It's 3-card, but you can buy in extra balls.
That's the beautiful thing
Yeah.
because it really, I mean, you have 25 numbers on the card. Everyone knows that on the 25 ball game. So when you have 5 balls and then 3 extra balls, that's 8. That's pretty interesting.
You get some good chance of winning, especially when you increase the number of cards. That's what's attractive about the 6 cards. There's so many combinations. And that Dixieland, it's ridiculous.
Well,
and the New Continental Golden's even crazier.
I think for most people that like pinball, they enjoy playing pinball, whether it's a flipper game or a bingo. So with the 6-card games, the player gets to play many more games.
Oh, yeah.
And it gives the player a chance to become a lot better and enjoy the games more.
I agree. But that Coney Island it's tough. It's not as tough as Line.
Oh, Light-A-Line, that's right. How did you enjoy that Light-A-Line play? I mean, that's
It's fun.
One of my favorite 6-card games.
Now, Line lights the cards on a mystery interval. So each coin drop.
The first 3 are automatic.
The first 3 are always okay. So the second 3, 4th, 5th, and 6th cards
Random.
are going to be random. And you taught me the sequence of clicks that it needs to make in order to light it on the next coin drop. So, Vic, tell me, when you played that on location and you knew the sounds that it made, would you stop putting in money if you didn't hear the click?
Well, I have to say that from the factory, and I've had quite a few Light-A-Lines, from the factory, the engineers had made that game towards the player in favor of the player getting them 4th, 5th, and 6th cards. The vendors looked at that game as, wow, they're not going to get all 6 cards for 6 dimes. They're going to have to throw some extra coins in there to light them 6 cards. And the thing about it is, because it was structured with no features Light-A-Line, it did have the center spot number and the super lines, but that was it. So vendors knew and players knew that this game was really a very tough game to beat, even with the seasoned player. So with all of this in mind, I try to get inside the heads of the engineering and the factory. I figured out that it made it a little easy to get the 4th, 5th, and 6th card from the factory. If you think about it, mine's set up on factory mode, and when you played it, I think it really only costs a player to get the 4th, 5th, and 6th card maybe 80 cents, maybe $1.20, maybe 12 dimes to get the 3 cards. Sometimes they come up in 5 dimes. Sometimes the 3 cards will come up in 8 dimes. Sometimes the 3 cards will come up in 10 dimes. So, I mean, it really wasn't that much more to get the 4th, 5th, and 6th card. And as a player, it was very enticing because the values of the payouts for inline wins went up drastically.
Substantially.
Yeah. So it really made the player drop the extra dimes in. So it was good for the vendors. It was good for the players. But what I'm trying to say is it's just not easy to win on that game. So
No.
that's why Bally knew that. They knew that. So that's why they made it player friendly to get the fourth and fifth and sixth card.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they were out in location for the longest time. You got to remember, the first game out of off the manufacturing line was a six-card game. But Bally, in 1951, but Bally made a tremendous amount of games in that 10-year stint.
Mm-hmm.
Think about all the games, the 20 holes and
Oh,
all
yeah.
the magic screens and the turning corners and the hopping holes. I mean, a phenomenal amount of games. But in 1961, they stopped making six-card games. They didn't make another six-card game till 1971. So the lighter lines were out there making a tremendous amount of money because they were really, really hard to win at. There really wasn't any features. I mean, the vendors had them waxed up, slippery, on an angle. The selector center spot number
Disabled.
disabled,
Yeah.
and the tilt was if you breathe, it would tilt. So, for me, I knew that because in Newark there were some greedy vendors out there. So, I mean, a lot of the players weren't good either. I mean, I've watched as a kid, 10, 11, 12, 13 years old, 14 years old, just watch grown people just lose and lose and lose. They had no control of the ball. They had no technique. They just were degenerate gamblers, and it was just another means to lose their money in the machine. If they weren't betting on, with the bookies or betting on racehorses or something, so the vendors made big money. So Bally had the green light to make that game easy to get the six cards.
Yeah, and you say it's hard, and that is absolutely true. I mean, the biggest hit I got on that was a 3 in a row, which
Well, fortunately, everyone knows my tilt mechanisms are on the lowest level and are really hard to tilt. But Nick did witness me tilt, I think, maybe the lighter line, or was it the Dixieland when we were playing?
it was Dixieland.
Was it? Yeah, I got a little bit out of control with that. So, even with the tilt mechanism on the lowest level, the player has a tendency to get tilted out and voided out of the game. So, but you need to drop these games down to that level, I think, only because they're not being operated and no one's getting paid off. And really, you need to drop your tilt mechanisms down so you can enjoy the game and control the ball and make some wins because, I think I don't know if I described it in the past, but I might have mentioned it to someone where, pocket billiards is a tough game. When you first put that stick in your hand and try to hit the balls in the pocket, it's you don't want to play because it's too hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
You get discouraged, and if you don't put time in and learn and advance in pool and pocket billiards, you're gonna say the game ain't that good, ain't that much fun. And it's the same thing with the bingo. So really, it's 2015. Bally isn't making any bingos. There's none really operating. There are some I know in Pennsylvania and some other states. I mean, but really, technically, most of the bingos are in collections now in home use. So you got to drop that tilt bobber down low and play the game and win and enjoy that and keep your interest in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And you will become a better player over time. And that's what makes the game longevity into your collection is that, hey, I enjoy this. I'm getting better and better. I'm winning more. It took me a year. Maybe it took me 6 months. Maybe it took me 2 years. But I'm making this 16, 17 different ways now. I'm making the numbers number one. I can make it, 5 different ways. I'm learning that the ball never rolls the same way twice.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something that you really have to do if you're going to purchase a bingo or have a bingo in your collection. drop the tilt bob down. You're not going to hurt the game if you shake it. I got all my wedge heads down to the lowest level in the tilt, and that's why I achieve some of the high scores I do and have these magnificent games and max out credit wheels. I mean, that's what I search for when I play a game. It keeps me interested in wanting to play my collection, you know. So that's just me. It's just works for me. But I do think that the games were made to shake and
Oh
nudge,
yeah.
and the player to become part of the machine, wrapped up on that game. The bingos especially, you hug them, you kind of lean into them, and you control that ball, and you kind of steer that ball around, and that's fun to do. It's challenging, and it takes skill, and that's what keeps my interest in the bingos. I like to be challenged. I don't like too easy of anything.
Hmm.
It becomes boring.
I've noticed from all the work you put in. Well, yeah, that's something I wanted to touch on too. Is some of the skills that transfer from the bingos to, say, the wedge heads or any other flipper game. You get your nudging technique down if you're able to walk the ball from 1 all the way to 7, 7 all the way to 1, and all the way down. You can nudge the ball exactly where you want it to go on, say, North Star skill shot, where it's got the different lanes that you have to
Rollover lanes,
roll
yes.
over. It's the exact same principle. So the skills do transfer. It's not the same game, obviously, but how many wedge heads are exactly the same? Uh,
True. And another thing about the bingos is not only do you have to become one with the game and nudge the game and shake the game, but you also have to, and a lot of the time, this is my biggest tip I give to any player, bingo player, is you really have to observe the ball and not shake a lot of the time,
right.
and only shake when necessary. You have to look at that ball, roll down that maze of holes, and know where it's going without shaking it, and then know when you need to make a little nudge or shake. So a lot of time for me, I'm really observing the ball.
Yeah.
And then I make my move. So you have a combination of shaking, nudging, and then you have a combination of winning by just observing the ball and knowing that hey, it may hit that post and ricochet off that spring and end up in that number for some wins.
Right.
And for me, that's the biggest tip I can give is when you're playing bingos, you really have to learn to observe the ball and know when to shake and when not to shake.
It's like the flipper game. You got to know when to flip and when not to flip. It's the same kind of deal. So that's really the point I wanted to make there is just that playing a bingo is like playing any pinball machine. You've got skills that you may have developed playing the flipper games that'll transfer and vice versa.
That's
so
true.
It's just a different type of game, and it's gosh, they're so fun. And all these ones I've never played, and they're wonderful. So yeah, Coney Island, that's a tough one, but it's like I say, nowhere near as tough as and Dixieland. It's so easy to win on that, but I'm not in my top playing form. Not that that's anything to see, but only getting 3 in rows, but you get so many of them. That's the beauty.
And you're playing a lot, and
Yeah.
you're becoming better all the time.
Yep.
And you're learning combinations in your head. You're automatically knowing what to shoot for as time goes on, because that's another part of people's, concern about bingo pinballs is, wow, there are a lot of features. You got to learn how to play them, and then you got to learn the combinations of the numbers. That's a lot of stuff. But when you look at Addams Family or Monster Mash or one of these games, did you ever read a manual on that game and learn the sequence of operation on the features there? I mean, there's a tremendous amount, but these people put the time in and know it like the back of their hands. So,
Sure.
Same thing with the bingos.
Yep. But they're so friendly. I mean, they tell you exactly what you need to do. And when you need to make a decision, they inform the player, and the game stops. You figure out what you're doing, you move on. It's I find them a little friendlier than something like an Addams Family.
They sure are. They have flashing lights, and they have a lot of information on the back glass. For instance, Skate Time has the magic pocket, which is where the balls hop the holes from the top row of the bingo playfield, 1 through 7, and 7 through 1, back and forth. So you can change your number throughout the card by hopping the hole on the number, but you have to get the magic pocket feature, and that costs money. But it's right there on the back glass, all the information. It tells you you have the magic pockets. It lights up in a big square box, which is probably about 5 inches square.
Mm-hmm.
And then inside that box, it tells you balls in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 holes may be moved right, and balls in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 holes may be moved left just by pushing the button on the lockdown bar. And it tells you push buttons now.
It flashes at you. I mean, it's pretty communicative. You don't have to read a scorecard. And I don't know if you have this problem with modern games that I do, Vic, but I go up to a game, I read the scorecard, and I still don't know what I'm supposed to do.
No. That always confused me
Yeah.
on route as a kid. Well, you're not reading that well anyway at 10, 11, 12 years old, but I mean, it explains to you in shorthand some kind of, engineering terms or something that
Complete a sequence, yeah.
But the bingos are a little bit more informative. Right there on the back glass, tells you what to do. Your odds are on there, and it's pretty cut and dry about the features and learning the games. A Silver Sail is a little more intense. It has a red letter game. It has a Golden Gate game. It has an OK game. So, I mean, you have to really learn the way that game works. It's a little bit more challenging to pick up, but that's the top of the line game. Silver Sails and Golden Gate and Bikini, all these top of the line, top 5 bingos. These games you have to graduate to. You can start off easily with one of the earlier games like Coney Island, the second game ever made, 3-card game, easy to understand, easy to play. You'll learn to understand the game. You'll learn to play the game on a Coney Island or a Light of Line, 1961, 10 years later. Very simple game, 6-card game. You learn to play the game. You learn to understand features, superline features, select a spot feature. That's the only 2 features involved with that game. And then you can, also get Jeffrey Lawton's Valley Bingo Pinball Machine book and just read it. I mean, I've read it. I knew about bingos, but I learned so much from that book because I was really a 6-card player.
Mm-hmm.
And I started collecting bingos and learned about all the other great games, the 1-card games, the hole hoppers, the magic turning corners, the magic lines, you name it, Valley thought of it. And that book will definitely teach you a lot about the features, playability, tremendous amount of information. But I had to read it 2 or 3 times to really
Same here.
yes, but you keep learning more and more. That book you can put down, read it, put it down, and pick it up again, and then learn, because there's really a lot going on in the back of that head. A lot of mechanisms, a lot of things you can really. I mean, Nick and I, we look in the back of the head of the bingo, and we know exactly what's going on. I could stand in front of a bingo and know what unit's working.
Mm-hmm.
You too. So I mean, that's a whole nother aspect of the bingos. Once you learn the features and you learn playability and literally play them, then you can even learn about in depth the mechanical and electrical aptitude of these games. It's amazing what these engineers configured back in 1950s, early 50s. They were the real first computers.
Absolutely.
So I mean, there's a great deal behind these bingos that everyone's really missing out on. I mean, there's so much in the pinball hobby to keep everybody occupied, whether you have a solid state game or DMD game. Them games are really tremendous. They're great. I mean, a collector could learn about them games. I mean, they're just another source of, developing, a great deal of information from just that type of game. But the bingos really are the pioneers and dinosaurs of the EM games. They were originated from the horse race game. Turf King. I had a couple Turf Kings, and so the technology was there, but they really perfected it when they they made the bingos with all the mechanisms that can control moving numbers and hopping holes and all that type of stuff. Like there's so much more they did with them games.
And all the enticement to play, having
Oh
five
my
balls
God, the
versus
enticement to gamble
one.
and play. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. On top of all of that, I mean, me being a player and playing these games for
Couple days now.
45 years.
Yeah.
Around over 40 years. I mean, a 13-year-old kid playing these games, having no money, and trying to win at these games and develop some skills and some playability. I mean, it was so enticing, and that word is the great word to use for that. But
So, I've never played a turf game. I'm curious. What are your thoughts?
Turf King is a beautiful looking game. I love the way they stand on their legs. They don't have the legs like bingos or pinballs. They have the lower legs are like a cabinet type of where the cabinet sits on top of this cabinet type of legs. And beautiful mirrored back glasses with beautiful coloring. I love the whole horse race theme thing. The play fields are big and the games are heavy. And because of the design of the cabinets and legs and head, there's really not a lot of movement with that game for nudging and shaking. And that's what was my only beef about that game. It's a quick game. It's one ball. So, Bally was thinking of selling these things to vendors. Vendors were thinking about making money. And these one ball games really were out there for quite a long time. I mean, I think they stopped making in 1950. The Turf King was probably one of the last ones on the run. I'm not sure if that was that game, but it might have been something. But I enjoyed it. I mean, there really is not much in the head, which is the opposite of bingos. All the mechanism was in the cabinet. And what was the beauty about that one-ball horse race game that Bally produced in the late 40s and up to 1950 is that the mechanism, the whole tray slid right out and had like a little kickstand that stood up, so you can get on a little chiropractor chair and wheel over to it and work on it, which was really, really convenient and easy on the back. And, playability-wise, there really wasn't a lot of action. There wasn't a lot of rubber, around a lot of posts. There was a lot of pins and less posts. So the ball really didn't bounce around and ricochet. And you couldn't control it because you couldn't really move the machine that well because of the cabinet structure and legs and head structure. So, I mean, just a gorgeous game. I had two of them. I made one good one out of the two. I got the game from a big deal that I made with Bill Dahl, who used to run the York show. Bill Dahl had a warehouse of games in his collection, and he was getting up there in age, and he was working on these games for many years. So I bought the entire warehouse out, and in the 28 game deal that I purchased, there was two Turf Kings. So I got it going, and I enjoyed it. Beautiful back glass, played it a lot. Very quick game, one ball, bang, next game starts. So if I had enough room, I'd have that. Citation was another good Valley one. Just gorgeous. The front doors were really low and they went down to the floor, so it was probably a 2.5 foot by 4 foot door with a beautiful horseshoe and the jockey in the middle and the horses on the side, on the back glass, on the play fields. Gorgeous artwork. Just magnificent. They stand so proud and tall in a lineup. It's a different looking game. And I know where it is. So I may buy it back after all this talk, Nick. So stop asking me these questions, will you? I just have no room. I'd like to buy back a couple of my Miss Bowling Turbos. I miss them dearly. Them magnificent solid state games that they made, a remake of the 1958 Miss America. So that was a great game. I actually got so many numbers in one card one time I posted it on Danny's website there on Bingo CDYN. I posted some pictures of how many numbers I had in one card, because you can transfer on a Miss America or Miss Bowling Turbo or any one of them remakes of Miss Americana. They made them in the 70s. Bally made a couple of these Miss America games. You can take the numbers and transfer them right into the other card, which is, it's just crazy. You get two cards, and you can put like almost every number in one card with certain numbers. I think it was 4, 6, 9. I forget the numbers. They're on Danny's site. If you get these exact numbers out of the 25 holes, you would have like a whole bunch of numbers in one card, a 125 numbered card. You would have, I don't know what the number was. I have 14 or 17 numbers. I don't even know what it is. I have to go back and read the article. If you're interested, go on to Bingo CDYN and go on Danny's site there, and it's listed under Vic Camp. So there's a couple other things listed under Vic Camp. I literally wrote an article about how to play a bingo pinball, how to have a stance, where to hold your hands, how you can make the numbers. So there's some real good information out there to learn about these games in someone's mind. So get out there and get on that site.
Absolutely. Yeah, I definitely, once Steve got me interested in these games, I was out there reading how to play. I was reading about your big hits and all that great information.
It's enticing. It'll lure you a little bit.
Yep.
I mean, I don't exaggerate. I just put the facts out there.
Okay.
I might elaborate, but I don't exaggerate. So, I mean, people have to think about if they want to get them. That's all. I mean, I don't see anybody being unhappy purchasing a bingo, because bingos are fairly cheap, getting a working bingo, putting it in your collection, and giving yourself a fair chance at learning about the features, what you have to do as a player, and giving yourself a fair chance at learning how to play it literally. And like I said, the information's out there. The information to learn how to play the games feature-wise and sequence-wise is right on the back glass.
Mm-hmm.
And literally, to learn how to play them, you have to develop some skills and give yourself a chance to play the game over and over and over again. And take your time. Don't rush the game. Bingos are not to be played quickly. You need to think about like a chess game. You're sitting there. You ever watch chess? You can go on for hours and days, but it's a mind game. It's thought process. So that's what's nice about the games. Sometimes you don't feel like flipping around the ball, whacking the ball around, listening to all the noise. You just want to play some kind of pinball game, a skilled game. This is the game that you might want to take interest in. You cannot shortchange yourself with these games. You cannot get a game or buy a game or play a game and have a game and give up on it quickly. You have to dedicate some learning about the features. You have to dedicate a lot of playing time, and you have to take your time when you play the games. Look up at the board, look what's flashing, read what's going on, think about what numbers you need. You can think 4 or 5 numbers ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Me being a big pool player, I mean, sometimes I could look at the whole rack in 9-ball and know where I got to go. Playing pool for over 50 years, and you have to exert yourself, mind-wise, physically, and everything else to really get to enjoy these games.
I agree wholeheartedly.
Good things, not easy to come by.
That's true.
And,
well, Vic, thank you very much for having me out.
I enjoyed it. It's I don't know what time it is, but
about 6 o'clock, I think.
Yeah, I'm having a great time. Time flew, man. It's just, I just love these type of days. I'm glad you decided to come up and hang out, check out the collection, and I enjoyed your company. We worked on the silver sales, went right to the source. excellent at diagnosing problems. So that was a great feeling to just put that silver seals back in the slot now. She's back up and running. We took the screen apart, changed the bulb. The number 2 was out. Now I know.
There you go.
So now I even learned some more stuff. Thank you very much.
I learned some stuff too.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's great. Playing the games was great. Oh, even lifting them out of the attic and bringing them down 5 flights and putting them into the truck was great. So
I feel like you're exaggerating on that.
it is 5 flights.
Yeah.
It is 5 flights. It's actually 6. There's 6 levels in this split home here. So, but it was only the cabinet. Fortunately, the head was in the shed, so it was great to do everything we did. So I enjoyed your company. Thank you very much for coming out. I have a little something for you.
Oh gosh, thank you, Vic. Thank you very much, Vic. All right, well, Vic, you know what's next? We got to get you down to Richmond.
First, I got to get to York this year, or Steve Smith's going to be really upset.
Well, me too. We're planning on having a lot of bingos there this year, and hopefully we're going to have a good turnout and turn some people onto them and see how it goes. And at the very least, we'll have a good time. So,
without a doubt. I mean, nothing like it. I mean, a lot of shows you don't really see that many bingos. So if we can, and I hope that I can make it, and everybody else does too, with the plans, we should have a nice row of bingos there with a tremendous amount of knowledge from a lot of collectors that got more time in it than me. And so I'll be learning a great deal of stuff. I'll have a great day. I'll be picking the brains of all the guys that have much more experience than me.
I'm excited. And I'm excited to get these beauties in the car home and get them unloaded. So, well, thanks again, Vic. And,
You're welcome, Nick. You're always welcome. Wish you were closer.
Be here tomorrow.
Wish you were closer because I open up a lot of Thursday nights. I got a tremendous circle of friends that come by and have fun with the games and use the games and keep the games in top shape. So I wish you were just closer. I could incorporate you right into that. You're a great guy and an asset to the hobby.
Well, ditto. Thank you. All right, Vic. Well, let's say goodbye for now. And I hope to see you again here soon, especially at York.
Okay, I'll try my best. I'll try my best.
Thanks, Vic.